Lekar, util wave, nga scan, nga fay, te nag doo ci yokku dara. No problem, 0% no charges. Kon yobale ko boy dem. Scan to pay money, no problem, 0% no charges.
Jah Oil Company stands tall as a trusted name in energy, keeping the Gambia moving with service stations across the country and a commitment to innovation and reliability. In Farafenni, Jah Group is reshaping our industrial landscape. The Jah Oil Cement Factory can produce up to 100,000 bags a day, reducing imports, creating jobs, and building a stronger Gambia brick by brick. And in the heart of the Central River region, Jah Farming Initiative is cultivating food security. With thousands of hectares under development and modern irrigation, Jah Farming is turning the Gambia's soil into abundance. Jah Group is more than a company. It is a vision of self-sufficiency, resilience, and progress. The Jah Group of companies, investing in industry, agriculture, and energy, building the Gambia's future today.
In the Gambia, we all move to different paces. Time is money, convenience is power, and now both are in your hands. No more long lines, no more late payments, no more missed chances, not anymore. Because now the Gambia has its own super app, Zap. One app, one tap, endless convenience. Send money instantly, pay your bills in seconds, shop without borders, pay your rides, order your meal, buy your ticket, deposit and withdraw money for absolutely free. No extra charges, no hidden fees, only on Zap Super App. This is not just convenience. This is confidence. This is the future in your hands. And the best part, Zap is born right here. Built for us, designed for every Gambian home, every Gambian dream. So don't wait in the past. Step into the future. Download Zap today on App Store and Play Store and enjoy endless free services. Call us today on our toll-free number 1666 or on 260-0001. Zap. All in one. All for you. Tap in. Zap in.
Fuel security takes center stage today as we sit down with Mohammed Haidara, president of the OMC's association, at a moment when tensions between oil marketing companies and Gambia Petroleum have raised real questions about supply, accountability, and the country's energy stability. At a time when global fuel supplies are already on edge with the conflict in the Middle East, rattling markets and tightening reserves, this is the last moment any country can afford missteps in the handling of its national fuel stocks. Yet here in the Gambia, that's exactly where the alarm bells are ringing. First came reports of fuel contamination at the Mandinaring depot managed by Gambia Petroleum. Now a new dispute is emerging between Gambia Petroleum and the oil marketing companies, with OMCs alleging they are being supplied less fuel than they paid for. The standoff has escalated to the point where the OMC collective in threatening strike action. This morning, the president of the OMC Association and general manager of Jah Oil Company, Mohammed Haidara, joins us to help us understand how the situation reached this point and what it means for the country. Mr. Haidara, welcome to the program once again.
Thank you, Aji. Always a pleasure to be here.
The situation has clearly reached a critical point. Contamination concerns on one side, supply disputes on the other, and now the possibility of a nationwide strike. Before we get into the implications, please help us understand the foundation of this crisis. In the simplest terms, what exactly is the issue between the OMCs and Gambia Petroleum that has brought us to this moment?
Thank you very much. It's a good question, but involves a lot, but I'll shorten it to what we have just to your recap. The Gambia Petroleum Depot, we've been having numerous issues. These are just one of the two latest ones, but there are a lot of issues, and I think every authority in this country is aware of the trials that we had. 2-3 years ago, before then, let me delve on the contamination. Sometimes this month, Jah Oil actually, with some other petrol stations, discovered that actually, not diesel, but the petrol itself, gasoline, had some contamination. Okay. How we know it as a company is because usually we had the biggest off-taker at the petrol station, at Gambia Petroleum. So usually we load a lot of trucks at one go. So this time around, when we loaded the trucks, we took them. In the process of distributing them to different various stations, we got 1 or 2 complaints. Then when we got those 1 or 2 complaints, we thought, it is people's vehicles having problems, and then they want to associate it with the fuel. But he said, look, let's do a due diligence. And then we tested the fuel. We realized that, yes, this petrol is contaminated. But luckily, we have a lot of other trucks that are already loaded, and they have not yet been discharged. So we went back to those trucks just to be sure, because they could say, if I thought it was only limited to our tanks, they will say maybe it's your tank that is contaminated. But we went back to the trucks that are not discharged yet. We took some samples there. And when we tested it, we realized that all the trucks are contaminated. So we freeze the supplies. We send the trucks back to the depot. And then I personally went there to tell them the story, and then told them that, look, swap the fuel, change it, and then refill us with a sound fuel. And then also we want to have an explanation as to how this could happen. In an institution like Gambia Petroleum, where people's livelihood are stored. Because everybody who owns a car depends on that depot for a sound operation. So they told me that, well, it was a long story. Part of it says they were trying to migrate from an electronic, what's it called, manual system to an electronic system, flow meters, according to their own story. And then along the line, they have pressure issues, and then the diesel, when mixed with the gasoline. The story doesn't sound very credible to me, but I took it. It's their story. I cannot write it for them. So we swap all those contaminated fuel. And I want to make it clear, it was not only Jah Oil that was affected. Everybody that picks petrol in that depot were all affected. You know, and I can name a few. Apart from Jah Oil, you know, you have Fortune Petrol Station, you have GNPC also usually take their supplies there, and then also Tech Wall and others and others and others. So we told them that these things should be, we alerted the authorities immediately and told them about the situation for them to investigate to find out how this is possible, because this is a very serious matter. So we had meetings with them, we wrote to them, and then they said they will investigate. They went and they took samples, and they also confirmed, yes, the tanks are contaminated. So we told them that this should be segregated and make sure that also this segregated fuel doesn't find itself in the market. Because sometimes you segregate these fuels when there is a contamination, at some point it will leach in again. How they do it, I don't know. Because it happened before with jet fuel. Jet fuel was contaminated, which was a very, very sensitive product. And then once it was contaminated and it was segregated, they downgraded it, and then at some point was mixed properly, and then it came into the market. Today, that jet fuel, I think most of it is not there. So these kind of things, this is the second occurrence that we catch. But I'm pretty sure it has been happening, because a lot of people sometimes will go to a petrol station, I bought fuel here, my car has a problem. Now, in hindsight, we are beginning to understand that maybe this contamination has been going for a long time. It is just now that we are catching it. So this is why we are telling the authorities to take it very seriously and make sure that they come with some very good corrective measures, because it is people's livelihood, so that it will not happen again. Yeah, that's what happened with that contamination. But as far as we know, as we are speaking, that matter has been taken up. All that fuel is out of the market as we speak, because most of it was returned back to the depot. They have it in their tanks. What they do with it, I don't know. So now what we have is sane fuel, good fuel, that is rolling again. And now we are even more careful, because now when we have fuel again, we do our own due diligence before we dump it into the tanks, just to make sure that we don't have these reoccurrences. Yes.
You've alleged supply sort changes that OMCs are receiving less than what they've paid for. How widespread is this, and do you have evidence to support the claim?
Sure. You see, this undersupplying of fuel didn't start today. I could remember 2-3 years ago, Jah Oil as a company alone, we suffered a loss of there about $30 million just because of undersupplies. It was a big thing. We wrote letters, we consulted authorities. The depot was refusing in the beginning, saying that no, it is our calibration system that is wrong, it is not theirs. As usual, they will always rebuff stuff. And then we had a joint exercise with Standard Bureau, PURA, and the stakeholders. And then we did some loading and dipping. So when we did that, we realized that yes, one particular product, that is petrol again, that flow meter or that their machine is not well calibrated, so they were undersupplying trucks. Due to those undersupplying, we had serious losses. Like I said, about $30 million is we lost, and nobody's refunding us that up till today. So this time around, when it happened again, they fixed it because they called somebody to calibrate the meters, and since then we have no problem. Until recently again, we realized that they are supplying again less. And these are, when I say less, these will accumulate over time and will cost you millions. So when we realize it, it is so bad that sometimes when you put your measuring meter, it doesn't even touch the fuel. That's how bad it is in some of the trucks. At least if it is even touching it, you can say, okay, the shortage is there, but this time around, it's not even touching the fuel in some instances. That means there is a huge shortage on each tank. So when we realize that also, our drivers complain, because usually we reprimand our drivers when they come with short fuel. So we told them that, look, don't come out with the fuel, leave the vehicles there until they fix it. 3 days, Aji. I could say this happened on Monday. On Tuesday, we returned the truck. They didn't correct it. Our trucks were sitting there. We are not able to take new supplies, and they were not able to correct the old supply they've already given us. So they are all standing there. Then Wednesday again, we call. I called, Adam called, and everybody called. They are not returning calls. They are not also giving us anything. Then Wednesday came again. I went there personally. I couldn't see any of them. But all this time also we are contacting with the authorities like Pura for them to step in because, we are not able to make a headway. So that they can step in and then talk to the depot so that they can fix the problem. At some point, Pura wrote an email to them to tell them that let them fix the problem by topping up the trucks and let the trucks roll out. Then after these holidays, because we are approaching a long holiday, they will go there with the Standard Bureau and recertify and check whether their flow meters are actually correct, which is a good thing.
Yes.
But that was also not heeded too. Now Thursday came. I went there. Unfortunately, I couldn't find anybody. Then I said, okay. But before Thursday, I called the minister. In fact, then I realized Pura has done what they could. And they have not been respected. Then I said, okay, maybe I should talk with the Minister of Petroleum. They will be able to leverage something. They also said they will try to solve it. Nothing came out of it. Then this fateful Thursday was the last day. What actually brought the problem was, it's going to be a long weekend. Already our trucks has been there for 3 days. And then more trucks are needed to load trucks. And this was not only Jah Oil. It's Jah Oil, Fortune's truck, even GNPC is affected. And other trucks that are loading there. So trucks were accumulated there in numbers, waiting for their product to be given to them in the quantities they have signed for. So when that happened, and I went there, they said there is nobody there. Then I said, what do we do? And now they started threatening our drivers, saying that at 2 p.m. they are closing. And if I told you we don't get our trucks out there, they're going for a long weekend. And that sounds very serious. Then members said, look, we cannot allow this thing to continue. How come one individual is at fault here? He's holding our product, trying to force us to take undersupplied fuel to our stations, and we are going to be the one to lose at the end of the day. This cannot happen like that. So this is an association. They said if at all they hold on to their threat, that they are going to close at 2 and they are not going to supply us, then the only leverage we have now is let us sit and wait until after the holidays without selling a liter. And I conveyed this thing. Like I said, I have a responsibility. So I conveyed the message. So this time around, I have to call somebody higher up at the president's office. And then I discussed the whole story with him, the background of everything. And I told him that this is what is happening. And they are saying that by 2, they will close. But we are also telling you that if you don't please try to help us and solve this problem, we don't want to see ourselves in a situation whereby at 2 o'clock, they close. And members said, okay, we cannot accept this. We are also not going to sell. Then there's going to be a crisis in the middle of a festive season. So he indulged, he called. And then I sat. After some time, I called back. The response I get, he said, well, the depot is saying that no, it's not true. It's only 2 Jah Oil trucks that are affected. Then we shoot a video.
With reference to that, let me ask, from your explanation, it seems there is gross misunderstanding or deliberate misrepresentation of the problem between the OMC Association and Gambia Petroleum. Something that it's even being peddled in social media, that Jah Oil fuel is contaminated. But that's not what it actually is at the core of the dispute with Gambia Petroleum, is it?
It's not. This time around, that's not the core. You see, they have in mind about the contaminated fuel, which you have already solved and passed. This time around is a different problem. It's about undersupplying us. That's what caused this problem. But I saw the same thing on social media. I was surprised. I think some of the members that are not negotiating in good faith actually, I think, linked my audio response to the feedback I have to give them. And then they published it and they linked it to contamination. But that has nothing to do with contamination. It was about the undersupplying. That was not about the one that is in the social media recently. It was not about fuel. The fuel contamination is done and passed. We've solved that. We've passed that hurdle. Now it's a different challenge, and it's a bigger challenge because this time around it is our millions that they are tying away from us. So we insisted. So it is not about the contamination. Unfortunately, the reporter or whatever who reports it didn't do his due diligence very well. At least the person who shared that audio with him should have told him that, look, it's not about contamination, it's about fuel shortage. Supplying OMCs less than they have signed for. So this is what happened. So this time around, I think when I reported the depot, the MD, the GM actually, reported back to that particular authority at the State House telling him that no, it's only 2 Jah Oil trucks that are affected. It's not true. And that tips everybody off. Then we sent him a video of all the vehicles that are stranded there to him, for him to see for himself that it's a lie. It was not true. So when he saw it, I think he realized, and he also forwarded the same thing. Then we had a discussion, and then the matter was solved that very day, fortunately, and there was no issue. And to cap it up with that, we want people to understand that it is never a fun for any responsible citizen to say that we are not going to sell a very critical commodity for people's livelihood because of we just liked it. It's because they pushed and pushed and pushed until now we are against the wall. We've explored every avenue of negotiation, starting from Pura to the ministry to State House. And still now the threat didn't go away. They are saying that at 2 o'clock we are going to close. It's your business if you don't have fuel or you have fuel. That was not a good thing to say to people who are holding a very good national security product that everybody depends on, including our own families. That was a bad thing to say. So this is why members also went berserk and said, look, we've been following this for 3-4 days. It seems like every authority is not able to step in, to take step and say, look, we need to solve this now. It's like nothing has come out of it. They say, well, if they hold them to their threat, we have no option. Let's leave the trucks there. We have no fuel to sell until when they solve the problem. And I think it was a very fair statement, but we never liked it. And we would have even, when the deadline has passed and they went with their threat, I'm pretty sure authorities would have spoke with us and would have been flexible with them. There's no doubt about it.
Unfortunately,
of course,
we've completely run out of time.
Fortunately, we have passed the hurdle without any issues. But it is never our intention to do anything negative in this country. And it was between us and one individual alone. It has nothing to do with government as a whole. Though authorities could have indulged, especially the people we've contacted, to make sure that they pin him down to say that, look, solve this problem before it spins out of control. And I think Pura has done that because they've wrote him an email and they copied us in that email, giving him specific instructions to follow, which he refused.
Ms. Haidara, thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mohammed Haidara there, President of the OMC's Association, helping us unpack a dispute with real implications for fuel security and public confidence. As always, we'll keep following developments at Gambia Petroleum and across the sector.
Nekar, utul wave, nga scan, nga fay, te nag doo ci yokku dara.
Scan to pay more, no problem. 0% no charges. Kon yobale ko boy dem. Scan to pay more, no problem. 0% no charges.
Jah Oil Company stands tall as a trusted name in energy, keeping the Gambia moving with service stations across the country and a commitment to innovation and reliability. In Farafenni, Jah Group is reshaping our industrial landscape. The Jah Oil Cement Factory can produce up to 100,000 bags a day, reducing imports, creating jobs, and building a stronger Gambia brick by brick. And in the heart of the Central River region, Jah Farming Initiative is cultivating food security. With thousands of hectares under development and modern irrigation, Jah Farming is turning the Gambia's soil into abundance. Jah Group is more than a company. It is a vision of self-sufficiency, resilience, and progress. The Jah Group of companies, investing in industry, agriculture, and energy, building the Gambia's future today.
In the Gambia, we all move to different paces. Time is money, convenience is power, and now both are in your hands. No more long lines, no more late payments, no more missed chances. Not anymore. Because now the Gambia has its own super app, Zap. One app, one tap, endless convenience. Send money instantly, pay your bills in seconds, shop without borders, pay your rides, order your meal, buy your ticket, deposit and withdraw money for absolutely free. No extra charges, no hidden fees, only on Zap Super App. This is not just convenience. This is confidence. This is the future in your hands. And the best part, Zap is born right here. Built for us, designed for every Gambian home, every Gambian dream. So don't wait in the past. Step into the future. Download Zap today on App Store and Play Store and enjoy endless free services. Call us today on our toll-free number 1666 or on 260-0001. Zap, all in one, all for you. Tap in, zap in.